Good day. My respect to our professors in Foundation of Education, Dr. Soganov and Dr. Cabillas. My topic for this oral presentation is all about the pedagogy of the oppressed as applied in the new normal. Let me start by saying this famous quotation from a renowned educator. According to him, whoever teaches, learns in the act of teaching, and whoever learns, teaches in the act of learning. That is according to Paulo Freire, the author and the writer of the non-fiction political philosophy book titled The Pedagogy of the Oppressed. In this book, Freire emphasizes concepts that are very helpful, especially in educational setting. He discourages the banking model of education. So what is really the banking model of education? Banking model of education treated teachers as the primary source of learning. They are the primary source of knowledge. And here, learners are considered as just acceptor of what are those taught by the teachers. Meaning, they are somehow considered as a blank slate and just wait for teachers to feed information to them. In this book, Paulo Freire considered learners as co-makers of knowledge, meaning they can use their experiences to learn more. They can use their experiences to shape the future and not merely basing on the facts given to them. The banking model is closely linked to oppression. Why is that so? We all know the fact that in the banking model of education, it is the teacher that knows all. So meaning, learners don't have freedom to express themselves. Learners are afraid to ask questions because they always see teachers as superior of knowledge. So if teachers are superior, we have learners as the inferior. And they just accept what are those given by the teachers. And so, Paulo Freire encourages teachers to dismiss the banking model of education and replace it with a problem-based model of teaching pedagogy, where learners can share based on their experiences and learners can learn based on what they have seen in the society. If I am to relate the pedagogy of the oppressed in the new normal, I can use two situations. The first scenario is the situation of teachers and deputy administrators as the oppressed during the time of pandemic. Because of the alarming cases of the contagious disease in the Philippines, schools and universities are ordered and advised to close, as everyone is prohibited to go out in their respective houses. So this made teachers vulnerable to criticisms and discrimination, underestimating the profession, saying that they don't have function at all, especially when schools are closed. However, the Department of Education tried to solve this struggle by creating a plan and come up with the BELCP, or also known as the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan, where all the undertakings and the activities of the Department of Education are embedded. Further, that feeling that you cannot control the situations and with the restrictions and limitation of the teacher's action in giving instruction is a form of oppression. Teachers are bound to follow the rules and mandate of the government, especially in giving instruction, and use other platforms of distance learning modalities such as the TVBI, the RBI, and the modular distance learning. Teachers are very innovative, but the situation limits them to teach their learners in their own style, in their own way. But with the help of the Department of Education, they liberated themselves and find ways in applying the different distance modality in the new normal by applying the different platforms in giving instruction. I can relate also the situation to the legal foundation of education, wherein teacher at all times must ensure that the children are receiving the right and quality education despite the emergency. They must ensure that the children are enjoying their rights to quality basic education as mandated by law, ensuring that no child is left behind and education is accessible for all, even to the marginalized sector of the community. Now, for the second scenario, we have our student as the oppressed in the situation. Because of the pandemic, students are restricted to go to school and are opted to have the distance learning modality. Yes, distance learning modalities using the different platform has its own beauty, but it has also its disadvantages, especially to those students who belong to the marginalized sectors of the community. We know that gadgets are very useful in this time, especially in conducting research, but not all are privileged to have these gadgets. And so, many students experience difficulties, especially in copying the lesson. With this seems like a blank slate, just like those learners described in the book of Paulo Freire. And so, they only just wait for the materials given by the teachers, such as the SLM, the LAS, and the like. It seems like they are still in the blank model of education, who rely solely to the teachers. They become passive and just wait for the teachers and whatever teachers will give them. What makes it worse is these students, or most of the students, have difficulty in coping the situation alone, even with the help of the family, because we all know that especially those who are in the marginalized sectors has difficulty in providing their children the necessary gadgets, the necessary materials that can help them in their studies. That is why we heard a lot of negative news. We heard a lot of students who committed suicide, a lot of cases of depression. But in the long run, as time passes by, learners learn to open their mouth and speak out and let their predicament be heard by the government, be heard by the school, and be heard by the teachers. And without getting rid of the distance learning modality, the government, the school, and the teachers take an action to this predicament, to this plea of the students. That is why we have now this what we so called the academic ease, released by the Department of Education to help students do the activities, have their studies without so much stress. Students were given the opportunity, were given ample time to finish their activity and pass this activity when they are done, according to their pacing. Another, teachers now can have this what is so called the homebound, wherein they can visit their students who experience difficulty in understanding the topic, who experience difficulty in answering the activities because they don't have someone or they don't have family members who can help them, and they cannot do the what we so called the independent learning. Another, adjustment to the content were done, wherein topics in the learning activity sheets provided by the teachers are more contextualized. Students now can relate because it is fit, suited to their current situation, or it is suited to their setting. Of course, without sacrificing the most essential learning competencies that the student must learn in this school year. That students are given more liberation, more freedom to work on the activities according to their pacing, according to their capabilities, and according to their desired way of doing it. So we have now this what is so called the differentiated instruction as a response to the predicament of the learners. Because of this differentiated instruction, students are given the chance to delve in real life problem. They become radicals and they are no longer that what we so called naive students who just depend to their teachers. They can now learn independently. Yes, they are still adjusting, and so we are, the teachers and the administrators. But with the collaboration of the community, the school, and the administrators, students will always have liberation, especially in the quest of knowledge. I can relate the situation to the sociological foundation of education. We all know that man and society are intertwined. They are entangled for the common good and purpose. We all know that social correlation and communication are very vital, especially in learning. Our situation now is difficult and not fair to everybody, especially to those deprived learners and to those who belong to the marginalized sectors of the community. But the government tried to find a solution to ensure that no matter what the social classification is of the student, they matter, and their education is the top priority. As we can see, the pedagogy of the oppressed as applied in the new normal has many phases. It depends on the situations and who are involved. But we must bear always in our minds that oppression will happen, and it is possible when we will let it happen. Oppression is possible if you will just stay there, quiet, and hear, deaf, and let the oppressors exploit you. It is knowing that you are expressed, that you are used to fight oppressors. You need to get up, fight, and find your liberation, whatever it takes, as long as you are in the right path. Remember, courage and determination are vitals in attaining your identity and purpose. That's all, and I hope every one of us will always find our liberation in whatever situation we are in.